everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I'm very excited today because I'm starting a multi-part series on exploring Area 51. Area 51's always been one of my favorite places. It's basically where I started my channel on my first few videos. I'll link those in the description. But I'm back. It's been a while since I've uploaded, so I'm excited to get back to it. So on the first part of this series, I'm going to be exploring Tikaboo Peak, which, if you don't know, Tikaboo Peak is one of the few areas where you can actually get eyes directly on Area 51. It's about 26 miles away, so I will bring my binoculars up there so I can get a good view, but it should be pretty exciting. So I'm starting the journey here at the Paranagit Wildlife Refuge, and this place is north of Las Vegas a little ways, just south of Alamo. It's a beautiful free campground. You have this lake. There's quite a few migratory birds that stop in here. So it's a very peaceful and serene place to kind of launch my expedition from. So stick with me on the journey and let's get to it. Okay, well, I'm on the road now. I'm heading deep into the Nevada desert. I'm leaving the lake and the campground behind me. This is a trip I've been excited to take for a very long time now. I've been waiting to film more content around Area 51 for a couple years, and I'm really excited to be able to go to the only place where you can actually get eyes on the base itself. I'm actually kind of surprised that I've never done this before. Whether or not you believe the government is hiding alien technology, I'll leave that up to you to decide. It's still going to be a fascinating experience, whatever I can see up there. I've been seeing lots of aircraft activity in the skies for the last couple of days, so at the very least I will definitely be seeing some jets. So I have about 18 miles of drive time ahead of me before I get to the trailhead where I'll start to hike. So far the terrain isn't too bad. From what I've heard, though, it does get worse, and there's a fairly large washout in the road that prevents larger vehicles from passing. Should hopefully be no problem for the bike, though. Starting to climb up in elevation a little bit. I'm noticing a few more Joshua trees dotting the desert landscape here on my left and my right. I left the base camp just before noon, but it's winter, so the air and the wind chill is definitely noticeable. I'm feeling it even through my jacket here. Certainly it's going to be an interesting night. I expect temperatures down into the teens. Luckily I do have cold weather gear, a 0-degree sleeping bag, and a decent tent. So I'm probably crazy for attempting this in the winter, but it should be worth it, depending on what I can see up there. Here's some kind of an old water tank. I'm not quite sure what this was from, either from an old farm or maybe a mine. So Tikaboo Peak is one of the only good viewpoints of Groom Lake. It's not the only one. There's one to the north and one to the south. I don't know of anybody who's hiked those, so I'm going to be doing Tikaboo today just because it's one that is more known. I don't think the other two peaks provide you any better of a view from what I know either. I think Tikaboo is still pretty much the best, and it is one that at least a few people every year do climb. So before the government annexed more land around the base, there used to be two more peaks where you could view Area 51 actually much closer than Tikaboo. One was called Whitesides Mountain, and the other one was called Freedom Ridge. Since the government annexed more land around the base, those are off limits, and now Tikaboo is the best we have. It's about 26 miles and a direct line of sight to the base.
Ooh, all right. Getting pretty close now.
All right, I'm really starting to get into the pine trees now. That's one thing about Nevada, you know, once you get up in the elevation, you start to get a lot more greenery. It's kind of a nice break from the desert scenery, though I do like the desert as well. So far on my ride, I've only seen one other person, and it was a semi-truck driver. He actually passed me while I was changing out the batteries on my GoPro. He just stopped to ask if I was doing okay, because I'm out here in such a remote place, and I told him I was. I'm not really sure what he was doing out here. He may have been coming from like a local ranch somewhere. I don't think he was coming up I don't think he was coming from Tikaboo. I think it was from one of the side roads.
Here we are at the first washout, or the only washout, the only big washout, I think. So I'm going to ride on through, but if you have a normal vehicle, this is going to be pretty much impassable. You either have to have really high clearance or a little tiny motorcycle like I do. But that means we're at the final home stretch here, getting pretty close to the trailhead. Let's keep going. All right, so I've made it to the end of the line as far as where I'm going to be riding, and I'm going to go the rest of the way on foot, it looks like. The path continues up that way. I could maybe ride a little bit further, but on most of the videos I've seen of people doing this seems like a pretty good stopping point. So I think we'll call this good as far as the riding goes. So I'm going to get set up for my hike, get all my camping gear together, and prepare myself for the long trudge up this rocky hill. Hopefully I don't overload my pack here, because I've heard it's pretty steep. So let's see what happens. Ooh, so somewhere up above me, one of the jets just went supersonic. The boom just echoed through this whole canyon that I'm in, and honestly it kind of knocked the wind out of me. My whole bike shook as I was unpacking it here. I'd imagine it'd even be more dramatic if I was up at the peak. So maybe I'll be able to get one of those on camera if I get up there. All right, so here's what I'm going to be lugging up the mountain. I have a tent, I have sleeping bag, sleeping pad, tons of water, camp stove, food, all that good stuff. Everything I need to hopefully spend the night up on Tikaboo Peak. So it's going to be pretty cold. I'm anticipating definitely below freezing, probably in the low 20s, high teens. I'll double check the weather forecast when I get up there. Hopefully I'll have a few bars of Verizon service so I can pull that up. But there is a weather tower, a weather station rather, up on top of the mountain, so it is going to give me an accurate temperature reading. All right, so here's my GPS app on my phone. Looks like so far I'm sticking to the trail pretty well. I'm gonna pull this out periodically just as I'm going up to make sure I'm not deviating off course too much. I've heard and seen that there's some ribbons tied around some of the trees up here to kind of mark the trail that other people have left. So those will kind of guide my way. Between that and the GPS, I should be pretty good. It's about 2 o'clock.
and I'm gonna guess right now it's probably in the high 30s as far as temperature. So I've got quite a few I've got quite a few layers on, so I'm pretty warm, and I'm gonna be working up a sweat getting up this hill. So I'm definitely not feeling the cold, but it is pretty chilly as far as the air temperature. Whew, and I can already feel that elevation. It's up here about 8,000 feet, a little less than 8,000 feet at the peak. So I am going to be going through a pretty good elevation change getting up here. It's another little campsite there. I actually probably could have made it up that hill on the bike, but is what it is. Wouldn't shave too much off my journey anyhow. Yeah, it's definitely not a hike I would recommend if you're out of shape or if you don't like hikes, because, well, I'll tell you, it's pretty steep. And so far from what I've seen, I haven't even seen the worst of it yet. Now, if I was less adventurous, I would have just camped down there instead of lugging this all up the hill. But God damn it, I want to camp at the top. Now, right through there, you can kind of get a glimpse of the valley where Groom Lake Road and the Medlin Ranch are. We'll get a better view here in a second. There's one of the ribbons that a kind hiker has left behind. You can see some snowy mountain peaks there in the distance. Whew. Boy, it's such a clear day today, though. Oop, there we go, another ribbon. Yeah, these ribbons are helping out a lot. Honestly, without these here, I probably would have lost the trail just now. So big thanks to whoever tied these up. Extremely helpful. All right, this path looks a little bit more established now. All right, after a nice little breather again, I'm back on the trail, following the ribbons. So I'm looking for an antenna that marks the weather station, because that's kind of a waypoint I can navigate towards. There's some kind of a tower up on the other hill across from me. I don't know what that is, but it's definitely not the weather station I'm looking for, because that should be up this way. Oh, that view is already so incredible down there. There's a jet. Well, we've got something green up ahead. I can't tell what it is yet. Let's find out. Looks like garbage. Or the remains of somebody's camp. Man, I really wish people would practice leave no trace. Like, it's not that hard. I mean, I get that it's a difficult climb and you don't like to pack stuff with you, but I mean, come on. We don't need to screw up nature more than it already is. Seriously, guys. Yeah, they got their tent up here too. Yeah, we got these rocks here kind of making a nice natural staircase, so this part's a little bit easier, even though it's just as steep as the previous parts. A lot less likely to lose my footing than the loose gravel on the other parts. Ooh, boy, the wind is really kicking up, and now that the sun's dipping down, I can start to feel a little bit of chill on my face. My core is still really warm because I have so many layers on, but my neck and nose and face are starting to get a little bit of chill. Woo! And there we are. All right, so here's the weather tower, and right up there is the little dome camera. That's definitely for weather and not for the base to monitor people up here. No way. In reality, it definitely is for the Groom Lake base to be able to know when somebody's up here. Because why else would a camera really be necessary up here? Climate monitoring station. Whew. Yeehaw. So I'll pull out my binoculars here in a few minutes, get a better look, but I think I can just make out the base. And here's a survey marker to prove that I did indeed make it to the top. Elevation 8,000 feet. And part of a skull that somebody left. Not sure what that is. Maybe a mountain goat or a bighorn sheep. I guess probably a bighorn sheep. They got those around this area. This is definitely something I've wanted to do for a long time. I see why people said it's so difficult, but it's worth it. The view up here it's like nothing else. Here we got a geocache maybe. Let's check it out here. Hey, check it out. Got the official Tikaboo Peak sign. And I think this is like a guest book someone left for you to sign. These pens are all dead. After struggling in the wind trying to get my tent set up, I finally got my campsite ready to go for the night. The temperature is getting pretty chilly now at this point, so I'm gonna cook some dinner. Got some nice canned chili here. I'm gonna eat that up, and then it's time to watch the skies, pull out my night vision camera, and see if we can catch any UFOs. All right, tonight's cuisine is hot and ready. Nothing like a good Angus beef chili while you're watching Area 51 in the distance. Wow, that looks trippy. I know that's just Starlink, but it looks weird over Area 51. And when they're all close together like that, it looks like an alien invasion. Those 2 points of light over there, I think are headlights from the Camo Dude Raptors. It looks like roughly where they sit There's a light on top of Bald Mountain you can see there. I actually can't see that at all with the naked eye, so it's showing up a lot brighter in infrared than it does naturally. And there's something on Groom Lake Road stopped. I assume it's probably another Camo Dude truck. Here's the good old camera. I wonder if they're looking at me right now, wondering what the hell I'm doing up here in the freezing cold. Thinking I'm crazy for freezing my ass off up here. All right, guys, well, I did get a pretty cool shot of Starlink going over. If I didn't know what Starlink was, I would think it was an alien invasion. But I'm gonna go ahead and get bundled up because it's just too bitter cold to do anything. The wind is picking up and my face is completely numb. So I am going to bundle up and get nice and toasty.